It's something that I heard about not too long ago, but when I did, it simply captured me. It got my full attention. I went out and did my research, and after doing my research, I decided that this was something that I wanted to pursue. Now, what I'm going to say to you is simply this: I am not an owner by any stretch of the imagination. If anything I say leads you to believe that, that is simply a mistake on my part. But I don't own Cryptex. I'm not a principal. I'm not endorsed by them. I've had all these questions asked, nor is anyone who invited you here. We're all simply people just like you that were looking for an opportunity. Someone shared this incredible information with us. We then went out, we did our research, and we looked at what Cryptex was asking for versus what was promised on the other end. And we decided that it made sense and it fit within our risk tolerance. I'm asking you to do the same thing tonight for you and your family. And if it makes sense to you, come join us. If it doesn't, I still appreciate you taking a look at it. No worries there. But again, just decide if this works for you and your family or not. Now, what I'm going to cover for you briefly are three quick things. One, the Cryptex offer, who they are, what they do, and most importantly, why you should even care, right? Why did somebody ask you to be on this webinar? I'm going to show you that. The second is I'm going to show you the proof that what they're offering is absolutely real. I know the first time I saw this, I said, there's no way that this could be real. There's no way that that's possible, that something like this has been around for this many years, and I've never heard of it. But then I did my research and found out that it was real. And the moment that I realized that it was real, I said, there's so many people that I know that can benefit from this. So if you feel that same way, I'm going to also show you the optional referral program. Keyword there is optional. You don't have to participate in that part of it. But if you want to, there's some extra income that you can start earning as soon as tonight. Now, what Cryptex is this community-based DeFi staking protocol. They maintain partnerships with banks, insurance companies, individual account holders like us, and they make sure that they do it in such a way that everybody can actually profit. They offer this unique DeFi hybrid contract that consists of two parts, a smart contract and a decentralized Oracle network. There's over 800,000 people to date that have actually taken advantage of this platform and are using it on a daily basis, and they've been around since 2016. So even if this is new to you, it is not new. It's a platform that's been around and been paying for a while. Now, if you don't understand staking, that's okay. It's a process of keeping your crypto assets locked for a contractual period of time, and this allows you to generate passive income. These locked assets, they're going to protect the network's ability to generate crypto profits, and as a reward, the staker/participant, that's us, we get back these returns. We actually get them back every single day, so that's pretty exciting. And this is very similar to if you got a certificate of deposit from your bank and you said, listen, what type of interest rate can I get from you if I let you hold my money for a set period of time? You'll notice right away, the longer you let them hold it, the more your interest rate or the higher your interest rate is going to be. So it's the same exact principle here, except we're doing it with crypto. Now, with Cryptex, they've got this four-part profit partnership. It's very exciting. Everybody can profit as long as everyone does their part. For your part, you're simply going to create a free account with Cryptex using your email address and password. You're going to pay $100 as a processing fee for each DeFi staking contract that you want. You can decide if you want your contract's term and length to be 2, 3, 5, or 7 years. So that's going to be completely your decision. And you're going to be able to get up to a maximum of 80 contracts. Now, for the bank's part, the bank is going to make a loan or loans, right, depending on if you want to get multiple contracts, directly to the Cryptex staking contract platform on your behalf. If you pick a 2 or 3 year term length, they're going to give you $30,240 into your account on your behalf. If you pick a 5 or 7 year, they're going to give $43,200 to the platform on your behalf. I'll show you that here in a moment. Now, for the banks doing that, they're going to receive 5.5 to 6.75% interest annually on every single loan that they make. And at the end of each contract, the bank gets back all of their initial risk capital, that 30 grand or that 43 grand, before you or I get to touch anything else. Now, an insurance company is going to step in and they're going to close the loop for the bank and actually remove all their risks, because the insurance companies are stepping in and they are literally insuring the staking wallet, Cryptex, against catastrophic loss or default. That means, Mr. and Mrs. Banker, if anything happens to Cryptex for any reason at all, you don't have to worry about it. We've got you. If Cryptex goes down, we still are guaranteeing that we will return your initial money back to you. So you can't lose here. For doing that, the insurance companies are going to get premiums every single month, $210 or $300, depending on the loan length. And then the smart contract is going to do all the heavy lifting. It's going to calculate daily profits. It's going to pay the bank its annual interest, as well as make sure they get their money back at the end. It's going to pay the insurance company every single month their due premiums right on time every time. And then it's going to assign the remaining profits to me and you. Now, this is where this is exciting, because, again, you're going to determine where you want to operate at and how you want to engage with Cryptex. You're going to be able to go out there and pick either a 2-year, 3-year, 5-year, or 7-year individual contract. They do it by months, so 24, 36, 60, or 84 months. Or they also offer some bonus packages where you can get that 24-month pack where you pay $1,000, which normally would be enough to secure 10 contracts. But for doing it all at once and getting the pack, they're going to give you 5 bonus contracts. You get 15 contracts for the price of 10, or you can do that with a 36-month pack and do that with the 3-year contracts as well. Let me show you the difference here between a 2-year, 3-year, 5-year, or 7-year and what it ultimately means to you and your family on the other end. So you're going to have the opportunity to pick any one of these terms that you want. 2, 3, 5, or 7 years. Doesn't matter. It's the same $100 processing fee no matter which term length that you pick. Now, if you pick a 2 or 3-year, it's a $30,240 loan into the staking pool on your behalf. And with $30,240 being micro compounded and staked for a 2-year period, with the insurance company being paid their premiums every single month, the annual interest going to the bank, and the bank getting their 30 grand back at the end, after all of that is done, after 2 years, what's left over for you and your family is a little over 22 grand. For a 3-year period, same exact loan starting point, $30,240, but we're going to stake for an extra year. So as you might imagine, it gets a little bit more serious, about $35,000 and change. For a 5-year period, we start getting into extremely, extremely relevant revenue, because we're talking about a $43,000 loan, so about 50% higher of a loan amount to start. And then you're going to stake for 2 more years on top of that 3-year period. It explodes for you to over 471 grand. And guys, for a 7-year period, we're talking about $1.5 million. Remember, all of these numbers to the right, that's what's left for you and your family after everyone else has been paid. That's what you get to take out of the Cryptex platform. Now, that's incredible, I know, but here's how it looks in the back office. You actually go out there and select the contract. You pay the $100 processing fee. You will see that the loan amount is instantly placed in. This is a gentleman who let's take a snapshot of his back office. He picked one 3-year contract, paid $100, $30,240 instantly placed into his back office. 24 to 48 hours later, he started earning daily staking rewards. And that's going to happen for you every single day. Once it starts, it happens every day for the actual length of the contract term, 2, 3, 5, or 7 years. Now, I know we're going to get to the first elephant in the room. I talked about the proof, right? And I know that this is real hard, because when I first saw this, I said, man, there's no way that this can be real. And you know what? We went out and did the research, because here's one of the best things I noticed about this. When you have a company that's offering 2, 3, 5, and 7-year plans, but they've been around for longer than 7 years, you're obviously going to have a lot of people who have already gone out and been paid. And we wanted to go out and find them and see if they would be willing to share some of their results. And I'll tell you, this was not easy, by the way, right? I mean, people are actually being paid a ton of money anonymously. Now you're asking them to come share it. It was a little bit of a task to find people that were willing to share this with you. But here's a person, he said, hey, if I can black out, some of my personal information, which he did, his contract numbers and things of that nature, then I don't mind. But I just want to focus on the dates. This person actually made a decision back in 2020 to get involved with Cryptex. Here we were now at the top of 2023. So January 10th of 2023, as their contract started maturing, they pulled out $98,800, almost $100,000, right? Literally 1 day later, $89,000. 2 months later, on March 15th, they pulled out 100 grand. 3 days after that, March 18th, they pulled out 100 grand. 2 days later, March 20th, 112 grand. 1 day after that, $100,580. Collectively, guys, they actually withdrew more money from Cryptex in a 2-month period of time than most people earn in 5 to 10 years of working a full-time job. And the only thing they did differently was 3 years earlier, they made a decision to actually pay some $100 processing fees to get these contracts with Cryptex. That was the only thing they did was they made a decision. Now, here was another gentleman by the name of Mo who wanted to really show us the entire process documented, which was really cool. He had gotten a couple of contracts back on November 20th of 2020. He got 2 contracts. They were running a buy one, get one free promotion back then. So paid for 1, got 2. And the other cool thing back then in 2020 is they were still offering $43,200 loans for even the 3-year contracts. That's not done anymore. Now it's a smaller amount, but still a pretty solid return. Now, here's what was interesting. This contract showed you the end date, right? Which would be 11/21/2023, exactly 3 years later. And here's what we saw. On exactly November 21st, 2023, exactly on that date, he received this email from Cryptex support, and it basically said, hey, Mo, come get your dough, man. That's what it came down to. It said, listen, regarding this DeFi contract number, it was offered to you as a bonus where you were able to get one free. You had 2 contracts that were going to last 3 years. Here's what it built up to in the entire balance of the wallet. $501,487.74. After some end user fees, here's what was left over, $485,000. We then have to send the bank back their money. So remember, the bank had two contracts for 2 loans for $43,200 each. They sent back exactly $86,400 to the bank, and $398,000 and change was left over for Mo. Mo, please make arrangements to get that money into your hands out of our back office as quickly as possible. Mo then showed the actual deposit into his back office of Cryptex. Says last deposit, $398,745, the exact same amount. Mo then hit withdraw, and here's Mo showing when that money actually finally ended up in his possession on his non-custodial wallet that he owned, which he's showing us here. He logged into with his cell phone. And you can see it's $388,000. That was actually because there was a 4%, I believe, withdrawal fee that they actually took out of that. But he ended up with 10.597 Bitcoin, right? Which is incredible. 10.597 Bitcoin, because again, 3 years earlier, Mo spent $100, got 2 contracts because it was a special going on, and he ended up 3 years later with 10.597 Bitcoin. That same 10.597 Bitcoin today would be well over $1 million. So you guys can start to understand just how powerful this is, what's happening here. Now, the other thing we wanted to look at was the blockchain evidence, though, because again, listen, the one thing we love, that's great that people are willing to show us and share their experiences and let us do screenshots, etc. But the blockchain is incredible because it's transparent, secure, public, and cannot be faked. And what we saw a lot of networkers doing was simply saying, okay, I got paid from Cryptex. Let me go now backtrack because it is on the blockchain. I can backtrack my payment and see exactly where it came from. And I can get a sense of the type of money that Cryptex is actually paying out into their community, guys. And here was one wallet that they found. It was a clearinghouse wallet where Cryptex was simply putting in commissions when they were ready to be paid out. And here's what they found with this wallet. It had 26,530 transactions on the Bitcoin blockchain. And this one wallet had taken in $52,682,588,662, and then just paid it all out, right, to people like us. That was amazing. $52 billion. That's billion with a B, guys, of payments. This was what it looked like. I took a snapshot of this on May 13th of 2025. And here's what you could see. The green arrows is when Cryptex was putting in the funds. The red arrows is people like us taking those funds out. So here's a red arrow. Somebody took out $6.95 million, $6,950,000 going out in one withdrawal. Here's another red arrow, $451,000 in one withdrawal. Another red arrow, $4.9 million. Another red arrow, $5 million, guys. Millions and millions of dollars, right, being paid out to people just like us who simply made a different decision a few years earlier. That was incredible. The second wallet they showed us, though, was actually bigger than the first. And I just wanted to show this because I'd never seen a wallet this big before. Another Cryptex wallet that people track back to. Look at this. $516 billion, guys. 516 billion with a B. Absolutely amazing, the type of money that Cryptex is paying out. Tens and tens, even hundreds of billions of dollars since 2016. Now, the biggest elephant in the room after that, as I would show this to people, was simply this. Okay, Clearly, we can't debate that. It's on the blockchain. Cryptex is paying out billions of dollars. But how do we know that it's not just a successful $100 Ponzi scheme, right? Maybe the most successful in history, but still just a Ponzi scheme. Well, guys, simple math should dispel that notion for you. If you took a $100 processing fee, if we rounded it up from the 800,000 plus to 900,000 members, even that would still mean that we were talking about $90 million total. If you then said, let's assume that every single person who ever joined Cryptex in the history of their company, all 900,000 of these people actually got 80 contracts each, you would multiply 90 million by 80, you would come up with a really big number of 7.2 billion. That is a big number, but it's not big enough. I just showed you two wallets. The smaller wallet had already paid out 52 billion. How can you pay out 52 billion if you only took in 7 billion, right? Where's the extra $45 billion coming from? It's only one thing that makes any sense. Every one of these $100 is indeed being replaced and represented by a $30,000 or $43,000 loan. There really is daily compounding coming from staking and liquidity provision, and therefore it's a true business model. That's how they're paying out tens and tens of billions of dollars more than they were ever able to take in. Now, if that makes sense to you guys, I want to just close this by talking with you briefly about Cryptex's referral program. For those of you that actually see this and say, you know what, this is worth sharing with others. I know other people who need this. That's how we felt about it. If you feel the same way, hey, here's some additional ways for you to get paid. And then we're going to simply wrap it up, guys. The first part is their direct commissions that they pay out immediately. It's completely based off of that $100 processing fee. It's what they call a 10-level unilevel. Here's what that means. If you're not familiar with that language, it simply means this. If you go tell anyone about Cryptex, they register with Cryptex through your unique registration code that we provide for you. That's how Cryptex knows they're attached to you, if you will. They're considered level one because you are the one who told them. For every $100 that they spend with Cryptex to get contracts, you're going to get $30. So you'll get 30% of every $100 that they spend. If they later refer someone, remember, by the way, they can get up to 80 contracts, right? So that can be $30 over and over and over again. If they later tell someone else or some other people, all of those people would be level two, one level removed from you. We'll give you $5 for all of the contracts that they go out there and order, every $100 they spend. And the same thing on the third, fourth, and it just goes down through a total of 10 levels. To give you an idea of just how powerful that would be, just imagine if you only told 3 people. I find it's hard to keep this a secret from just 3 people, but if you only told 3 people and they did the same, they went out and told 3 who told 3, you get to some big numbers still as you go through 10 levels. If everybody only averaged 10 contracts each, we have a go for 80 drive on our team. But if everybody only averaged 10 contracts, guys, you're still going to find yourself sitting on hundreds, then thousands, then hundreds of thousands, and even millions of dollars just from referring a few people who referred a few. That's why this is exciting if you want to go out there and you want to share it with some others. Now, the other side of this, though, is what happens when those contracts actually come to maturity for 22, for 35, for 471, for 1.5 million. Guys, on the other side of this, Cryptex will pay you again. That's what was exciting. So if you think about what I just showed you on the previous slide, we went down through 10 levels, but I said on the 5th level, you had 243 referrals. This is, remember, you just referred 3 who referred 3, and by the time you got to the 5th level, there were 243 referrals. If everybody got 10 contracts, that's 2,430 contracts. Now, on the back end, it's 4%, but it's 4% of the executed value of the contract, not of the $100 processing fee that you got paid off of on the front end. That means if, let's say, these people all got the 3-year contracts, they cash out at about 35 grand and change. Well, 4% of that is about $1,400. And you would get that $1,400 for every single one of these contracts. That's $3.4 million as those contracts cash out 3 years from now. Now, think about the blockchain. Think about 4.9 million being taken out, 6.9 million being taken out, 5 million being taken out. All of a sudden, you can see why it is that Cryptex is paying out such huge and exorbitant sums of commissions to simple individuals is simply because they went out and they shared it with someone. They didn't keep it a secret. They shared it with people. It started to spread like wildfire. And a few years down the road, they're getting some big rewards. Finally, their leadership program. This is for, the people who have, social media followings. You're good networkers. You're just a person who likes to talk things up. Maybe you have influence in your community. Listen, if you go out and you actually get 100 people who try at least one Cryptex contract. Most people will get far more than one, but let's say they started all with one, just for easy math. That would give you qualification number one. Qualification number two is that within your entire team, that means the people you referred, the people they referred, and so on and so on and so on. Within that entire team or organization, you had a total of 1,000 contracts throughout your entire team. If you have those two things together, you now qualify for the leadership level. And at the leadership level, as soon as you qualify, they're going to give you a $5,000 bonus right away. That's exciting. But going forward after that 5,000 bonus, every single month, they'll simply look at your top two levels, your level one personal referrals, who you have at least 100 now, right? And all of their personal referrals. So it means you're probably going to have hundreds of referrals there. And they're simply going to say, hey, this month, did these two levels, were they responsible for at least 100 new contracts? It doesn't have to be new people. They could each just decide to buy another contract each or something along those lines. But as long as it's 100 contracts or more, they will pay you an additional $5 through infinity, guys. That doesn't mean through 10 levels or 20 levels or 50 levels, but through infinity. Let me give you an idea of what that looks like. Guys, even if down in your 7th level, you remember we talked about 3 getting 3 going through 10 levels. Listen, by the time you got to the 7th level, there were 21,870 contracts there in our example. You would have gotten paid 65 grand for that on the front end. But if by the time you got here, you had also qualified for the leader bonus, you could add another $109,000 to this 65 grand. And that's just on your 7th level alone. What about the 8th, 9th, and 10th levels? What about the 20th, the 30th, the 40th level? Guys, this is incredible income that is virtually unlimited here with Cryptex on the front end for those of you that are looking to go out and share this with some others. By the way, if you can't get 100 new contracts every month within your first 2 months, your first 2 levels, I'll tell you what, just get 50. You'll get a $2 bonus through infinity. And if you only get 20, you'll get $1 bonus through infinity. Still, infinite pay is incredible pay. Now, let me show you what this looks like in the real world for someone who let us take a picture of their back office. This gentleman had been in for 3 years and 3 months. By the time we were able to do this snapshot of his back office, he wanted to show us that from that point, in 3 years and 3 months, he had built up already, called Overview of Profits Lock, $7.6 million, right? This was just saying that this was for contracts that hadn't actually hit their maturity date yet. So this number was going to continue to get bigger every single day until those contracts started cashing out. Remember, some of these were 3 years, some of these were 5 years, some of these were 7-year contracts. So this number was going to grow maybe 10, 15, $20 million or more. Now, up at this point, though, he had $4.7 million that he had earned in profits on his personal contracts and $2.8 million on team contracts. Now, check this out, guys. In addition to that, over that 3-year period, he earned $584,000 in change, right? Just from his 10-level unilevel. So this is money that it was paid to him instantly. He was able to withdraw instantly and put into his pocket, right? He also, somewhere along that 3 years, hit the leadership level. So he got that 100 front line, 1,000 contracts on his team, et cetera, et cetera. As a result of doing that, he was getting paid this $5 bonus through infinity. That equaled another 912 grand for him. So about 1.5 million bucks right here over a 3-year period that he was able to withdraw and put into his pockets immediately. And the moment that he got to his 3-year period, some of the contracts started cashing out, just a few of them. He had already earned $289,000 in overrides from his team contracts, and 4 of his personal contracts that closed out, that was worth $316,000 to him as well. So what did he earn in 3 years and 3 months? $2.1 million already in his pocket, with $7.6 million and counting coming to him. Remember, this number was only going to get bigger, but even if this number did not get bigger, even if that was as much as it got, we'd still be talking about almost $10 million for just 3 years worth of work. Guys, where else are you going to find that at but Cryptex. That is absolutely incredible what he was able to go out there and do. Now, listen, final elephant in the room, man, is listen. If this is so incredible, why is everything anonymous, guys? You said that the banks, the insurance companies, us, it's all anonymous. Why is that? Well, here's a quick history lesson for you guys about a little old thing called Bitcoin. Everybody's heard of Bitcoin. They know that it's worth over $100,000 now, and it's an incredible store of value and everything like that. But a lot of people don't realize what Bitcoin was like when it first got started, and Bitcoin was invented in 2008 when this unknown entity, read that, unknown entity, published a white paper under the pseudonym of Satoshi Nakamoto. It was a group of developers, did not want their identities revealed, so they just said Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, the reason why they even developed it is because they were pissed off. Right back in 2008 is when the housing crisis happened. It's when the banks almost destroyed the world, literally. When people lost their life savings, they lost their homes. Some people, because of the depression, committed suicide and lost their lives. The banks, they knew about it. They didn't tell anybody that it was going to happen. And instead of being punished, they actually got bailed out, right? I mean, they were what they said, too big to fail. So they got bailed out with U.S. taxpayer dollars, right, to save the global financial system. Now, what's interesting is these people, though, they were mad. These developers, they said it's not fair. And you know what? We can't trust the banks. So if we can't trust them, and if we can't trust them with our money, we need to create our own money. And that's what Bitcoin was created to be, was the people's money. And when it first actually came out onto the market in 2009, it was 1/3 of a penny. It was a joke, right? Nobody took it seriously. But just 2 years later, Bitcoin actually achieved price parity with the US dollar. One Bitcoin, $1. And now today, 14 years later, Bitcoin is over $100,000 per Bitcoin, the greatest returning asset in the history of mankind. That's pretty impressive, guys. As a result, now we've got tens and tens of thousands of cryptocurrencies. I got to update these numbers because now the market cap is over $4 trillion. Bitcoin's market cap is well over $2 trillion, guys. And, listen, there's over 172,000 crypto millionaires at the top of this year, with 320 centimillionaires, 28 billionaires. These numbers are up about 40% over last year's numbers. So this is an incredibly fast-growing wealth class that's happening. But I want to think about this for a second. With trillions of dollars, trillions with a T, that have been taken out of banks and moved into digital wallets, where the banks can no longer control it, can't profit from it, can't make sure that they know what's happening with it. Guys, do you believe that if they knew the identity of Satoshi Nakamoto and they saw millions and then billions, forget about trillions, just millions and billions of dollars being moved out of banks into digital wallets where they weren't going to be able to profit anymore, do you believe they would have simply have sat back and watched that happen and said, oh, I guess it's just not good for us? Or do you believe that all of a sudden they would have tried to destroy Satoshi's reputation at the very least, right? That all of a sudden you start hearing all this bad and negative stuff about Satoshi to try to discredit Satoshi, to keep people from even wanting to touch anything that they were connected to. They would have tried to strangle Bitcoin in its infancy. There's no question about it. And if they were successful, none of this would have happened. None of this would have happened. And none of this would have happened, guys. It was only because of the anonymity that we even have Bitcoin today and we have the crypto markets today. And right now, Cryptex is following the same playbook. The banks, the insurance companies, the smart contract creators, and even us, it's all anonymous for our benefit. It's by design. This has allowed Cryptex to operate uninterrupted since 2016. And as a result, we get to be a part of one of the largest wealth creation vehicles in history. Listen, if this makes sense to you guys, right? This is simple. Just decide how you want to get involved. Get your questions answered and then figure out what's one of these numbers makes the most sense for you. What combination of contracts do you want to get so you can start setting up the financial future for yourself, your family, and creating your own legacy? With that being said, guys, let me just tell you, I appreciate you. Hopefully you found this webinar helpful. Get your questions answered. And if you do decide to join us, let me be the first to say welcome to the Cryptex family. We look forward to actually helping you achieve your goals here and then celebrating your success. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great night. God bless you. And we'll see you again here soon.
cryptexinvestor.com today.